Okay, we are back live here on Love the Beat Radio. It is Masai Lincoln on the Off the Cuff show. I'm here with my younger brother Jay.
Yo.
It is boiling here in South London.
Mate.
Yeah, how are you?
Yeah, so
I know. I was having this discussion with someone the other day because I just got back from
Barcelona, yeah.
And it's just different being hot abroad.
Yeah.
It's just it's a bit of an echo, but yeah, I think I saw like a tweet the other day. It's like because London's so compact.
Yeah.
And we're not
like
near like a sea or a beach.
Yeah, it's like the air pollution, like the roads, you just feel if you feel more suffocated, I feel like when you can, also as well, like, you can, when you're on holiday, you can like walk around with literally just trunks on, whereas like around here, I feel like it's a bit weird if you just...
No, I think if you just wore a shirt, I think...
No, like no shirt.
No, sorry, I mean, I think you could walk around in just shorts in this weather, to be honest.
I wouldn't,
I see topless guys all the time.
Nah, like, say, if I went to a pub and I saw a bunch of people, like...
No not shirts, inside,
That's what I mean, like, inside, whereas you can do that. Like, I remember when I went to, like, Tenerife, like, for example... Well, I mean, any of the holidays I've been on, like, I go to, like, McDonald's or whatever, like, bars, whatever, you just no shirt.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
No shirt, yeah.
It's just different, it is complete. Like, being near, like you say, being near a beach as well. Like,
it's weird, yeah, and do you know what as well? I think London or the UK just in general, I think it's best. I mean, it's like 30 degrees right now.
Yeah. I
think like 20, 21.
No, like I feel like that's like a universe. Like we could all agree. I feel like spring and like into early summer when it's it's sunny but not too hot. It's the best weather.
Like you can wear a t-shirt weather, but you're not hot. You're not cold.
You're not like too hot.
It's lovely.
But at the same time, I don't want to complain because I have a clear memory of it being cold. And I'm just like, I'd rather it's crazy hot than.
I get that the cold isn't pleasant, but sometimes when it's cold, I remember. I was coming out of work in like January, and I got out of the office and I was like, "Wow, it's hitting me." Yeah. But then I was like, "It's actually not that bad because if you got a coat on, it's not that bad. You're walking around."
Yeah, at the end of the day, like I don't.
Keep talking.
Cool. I don't feel like any of the like weathers we experience are that bad. I feel like we live in a pretty compared to other places. I mean, think about people say like the cold in like New York, for example, is crazy, and like the hot in other countries is ridiculous. So I feel like overall we're okay. It's just more. I don't know. I feel like I never want to really complain when it's hot because like, I did kind of. And plus, your mood is better when the sun's out as well.
I get that, but I just don't like being uncomfortable. For me, the worst thing, it's not even during the day. It's at night and.
Yeah, you can't sleep.
Yeah, for me, I have to have a cold shower before I sleep now.
Yeah.
It's too hot.
I don't use my duvet. I just use like a duvet cover.
Oh, I can't do it. I need to sleep. Well, I guess that's actually pretty good.
I used to be like that. I used to need like the weight, but like now I can just kind of do it. I can just sleep.
Yeah, I can do that. I can do that as well.
Duvet cover.
But for me, it's cold shower before bed and then I'm all right. But I think after Saturday, it's going to go back down again to normal, thank God. It's going to be like 20. 21, 22 is perfect.
Yeah, no, that is really good. Especially if you do a job like if you're driving around as well.
But if you've got aircon in your car, it should be alright. Or to be honest, even if you don't, like you have the windows down, it's alright. It's not actually. Yeah. That's why I kind of like driving because you feel the breeze when you're driving. It's not that bad.
Yeah, I guess. Yeah.
For me, it's not too bad.
Like I say, I just don't want to complain when the weather's good now because. I don't know. I just remember like when it's dark at like 5 or like 4 p.m. That's ridiculous. Like it's depressing.
When it's winter time, you are sort of thinking, "Oh man, I wish it was summer."
So I'm trying not to do that anymore. Like when I go through the cycle, I just try and appreciate it for what it is. When it's winter, I just appreciate. Well, at least every time I get in my car, like that feeling of when you put the heating on, it takes a while, but then it comes on.
Yeah.
I'm like that. I try and appreciate that, and then when I'm driving around now, like the feeling of the breeze. I'm trying to just sound so like hippie. I'm just trying to appreciate it for what it is.
No, that is very true.
So
would you ever like want to work abroad?
Yeah,
you would.
Yeah, of course. Why not? Not for like. That's the thing. I actually love London. Like I don't really see myself living somewhere else permanently.
Yeah. No, I don't think I would either. But I would like. I mean,
what sort of time frame?
I don't know. It could be a year, it could be 2 years. Because
I'd work abroad for it.
I watched a video so random today on my algorithm. It was like, Italy's emigration crisis and emigration with an E, which meaning people leaving.
Yeah.
So it was basically about people aged sort of 18 to 30 in the last 10 years.
Yeah.
Has really gone down in Italy.
Right.
And it was saying something like. At least 3 million people of all age groups, but mainly young people, have left to go to other places in the world, mainly because for pay and just more opportunities.
Yeah.
And they can get the same sort of pay, better pay somewhere else, whether it's here in the UK, like Argentina, Brazil, America, all over Europe kind of thing.
Yeah.
And it just sort of made me think, like, would you ever work abroad? Because I went on Twitter's AI, which I look up a lot of stuff on, Grok, and I sort of looked up what are the 5 easiest countries for Brits to sort of immigrate to, and I was like, wow, like, and they're mostly English-speaking countries.
Yeah. So what countries are easiest?
I think top of the list in terms of easiest, I think it was Canada was number one, because that's what I put. I said which one is the easiest on paper to immigrate to for Brits. So number one was Canada. Then I think number two was, I want to say, Australia.
Yeah, I mean, you get a lot of people going over
Yeah,
there.
yeah. Number three, I think, was maybe America.
Really?
Yeah, and then I think
Easiest?
Yeah,
America.
yeah. And then I think it was Spain was the next one. And then I can't...
I guess that these are assuming that you can speak the language there.
Well, yeah, because it's for Brits.
Yeah, but what I mean is assuming you're a Brit who can speak.
No, but I think, yeah, but Spain was near the bottom of that five list
fine.
because obviously most Brits can't speak. But obviously a lot of Brits move there anyway and they can't speak any Spanish.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, in places like, if you go to any of those like holiday islands and those bars that are owned by Brits, most of them can't speak Spanish.
Oh, right.
Yeah, like if you go to like Ibiza or Tenerife or Benidorm, they're mainly owned by Brits and they can't speak any Spanish, can they? I can't remember what the fifth one. Oh, New Zealand. New Zealand was the other one. Yeah.
Near Australia.
And I was like, wow, that's quite interesting.
I mean, yeah. Are you not sure if you would ever go out somewhere?
Oh, I mean, maybe for a few months, but I don't think I'd move somewhere permanently.
Yeah, I wouldn't. I know. I got a friend of mine who says that I think he's been radicalized by videos he's seen online because he said that he really wants to like live and work in Dubai. But like, I don't really get why, if that makes sense. I feel like it's become a big thing. There's a lot of people like around, like 18 to 30 in England that really are obsessed with the idea of living in Dubai. Like it's this like magical experience, and I don't really get it, to be honest.
I can understand the appeal. Dubai just doesn't Dubai just doesn't appeal to me personally.
Yeah, not me either.
But I get why people do it, because obviously if you're working in tech or finance, they're high-paying jobs, quite low taxes, and the weather's nice and it's quite safe. So I can understand why people do want to go there. Me personally, Dubai just doesn't appeal to me because there's not really much soul in it.
Yeah.
I would actually, before I was, years ago, I was like, I don't even want to visit there. Now I'd actually be interested in like going there just for like a week or 2 weeks. Or going there for sports or something. But I wouldn't want to live there, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I wouldn't. Like you say, I feel like it doesn't have a lot of character. I guess that's what it is with these like modern cities. They just don't feel, I don't know. It just doesn't feel like a real place almost. Like whereas I would live in like a proper city. I'd live in like a Rome or like a Barcelona or somewhere like that.
To be honest, I don't think I could move anywhere that doesn't speak English. For me, I'd have to live somewhere that speaks English.
Would you ever commit to learning the language?
Only if I really had to. I would need a reason to. You know, like when you see footballers.
As in, you don't want to then?
Not that I don't. It'd be a great skill to have, but for me, I don't have the time or the urgency to learn one. And like you get those footballers that move to a different country.
Yeah,
they kind of have to learn another language.
Yeah.
But for me, being English, living in England, I don't have to learn one, and it's not. Like, oh, if I do this, maybe I could get a better job. It's not really going to help me, to be honest.
Do you think if your first language wasn't English, but it was still a very popular one, let's just say it was Spanish, so you're still fine if you don't know English, do you think you'd feel the same and think, oh, I know Spanish, I don't need to learn any other language?
No,
or do you think you'd want to learn English?
Yeah, I feel like because English is the dominant language, everyone speaks it kind of thing. And I watch a lot of sort of Eastern European YouTubers, like Russians, like Serbians and like a Georgian guy. And they say they sort of learn English because it's just everywhere, like playing video, like GTA back in the day, or listening to hip hop, and then eventually they just sort of taught themselves. I think a lot of people are bilingual in Europe.
Most people, I mean, I've heard most people like throughout Europe, they say that they learn English when their kids watching like cartoons, like TV shows.
Yeah.
And it's just like, damn, I kind of wish my brain was that malleable again, so I could just sit in front of a TV.
That's the thing. That's the thing.
Whereas when you're an adult, you can't do that. It just doesn't. It doesn't work.
It's definitely possible to learn if you really put the effort in.
Oh yeah, for sure.
You had a reason to, you could.
Yeah, easily. I feel like if you have the motivation and you go through like an actual structured learning, then yeah, you can learn a language for sure. I mean, it's just more. I kind of almost feel like I missed out on key years almost because there was a time where you could have literally just sat in front of a TV.
Well, do you know what I think as well? I think the mistake that they make in the UK is that they should teach languages earlier. You know, like we in this country, generally speaking, we don't learn another foreign language until we're in year 7.
Yeah.
Which is not too late. You're actually quite young.
They should actually start that
when you're like 8 or something.
As young as possible.
Yeah. Because imagine if you had to do Spanish twice a week from when you were, I don't know, 7 or 8.
Yeah.
More would stick with you when you sort of became older.
Because even from like learning from like 12 or 11, 12 years old, there's still words that I just sort of know and remember from other languages. Like, you know what I mean? Or like even numbers and stuff. Whereas imagine if I had like double the time. That would be.
And things stick better when you're younger.
Yeah, exactly.
What languages did you learn in school?
So in school, because I changed schools at the end of year 8, so I ended up I did German and Spanish in the first school, and then when I changed, it was just Spanish. I didn't have time for like another one.
Right.
So I guess most of what I did basically throughout school was just Spanish, I guess.
Yeah, I got kind of screwed. I had to do. I wish I could do Spanish.
You did Mandarin, innit?
Yeah, I did Mandarin. So, because
mad.
My school was like a brand new school.
Yeah.
And we sort of lost our test results or something like that. So we done new ones. I got like a really good English grade, and then by default I got put in the Mandarin class. And learning Mandarin is like impossible.
Ridiculous.
They don't have an alphabet or anything.
The other day I was on ChatGPT, and I was just like, I want to just see how different the East Asian languages are. Yeah. So I basically just asked it to show me verbatim like how different is it. So basically just type out like a sentence, but in the way Japanese would order it, and it's like ridiculous. Like I said, first it gave me like a simple sentence, because they always put like the verbs at the end and the subject of the sentence.
Yeah.
And then I said, now give me a complex sentence, and even then it was even more confused. I'm reading English words, but in like a Japanese order, and it's ridiculous.
Yeah.
I don't know how anyone could learn that. Like, you know, when you say, "Oh, I don't have the urgency," like, yeah, you would need 10 times motivation to even think. Because what's the point? Like,
yeah, definitely. And I think
what I mean?
that's why like a lot of these foreign countries, they sort of learn languages because they sort of have to learn.
Yeah.
And I think when and also as well, I think I've heard as well, one of the best ways to learn a language is if you just move there.
Yeah,
you have to learn.
Yeah, like surround yourself and like put yourself in an environment. And also as well, they say to have I forget what it's called, a language parent or a language sibling. Basically, someone that speaks both that you can kind of hang around with.
Oh, right, yeah, that's actually a really good idea.
That's also another thing.
I heard, I remember once, this was years ago, I saw an interview with, you know, Kate Abdo, the presenter. And, you know, back in the day, I'm pretty sure she used to do La Liga on Sky. Is that what she used to do as well?
I know she speaks Spanish.
But I'm pretty sure she used to do the La Liga or Champions League way back in the day on Sky
She's been around for a long time.
Because she was on Sky back in the day.
Yeah, she's been around for a long time.
But I saw an interview of her, I think it was on Copa 90, like 10 years ago, and they were like, how did you sort of learn? She was like, well, I wanted to work in football, and I wanted to like work in Spanish football, so I just moved to Spain looking for a job, and I sort of just learned Spanish. I just had to sort of learn because I lived there. No one spoke English, and that's how she learned Spanish.
Yeah.
And she said that's the best way to learn a language. And she was just like, I picked it up so naturally because someone speaking to you, eventually you're gonna know what this means, and you just pick things up.
It is kind of weird how I feel like that's learning a language as an adult. It's one of those things that it's like an example of your brain being able to do stuff for you in a way.
Yeah.
Because like there's no manual way of just like if someone talks to you, eventually you get it. That's almost like I feel like that's like a survival mechanism. Like that's the thing probably instilled in us from like thousands of years ago, like
definitely.
Way longer. You know what I mean? Where we have to know what's going on in order to survive. I genuinely think that's like a primal.
Yeah, because I guess if you had to learn, if you really force yourself to learn, you can do it.
I think it's possible.
It's just harder. It does,
and you have to care.
It is difficult.
You have to want it. You really have
to put the reps in.
You have to want it.
So, did you watch We Might Be Drunk? What did you think?
Yeah, man, jokes like them. Do you know what? Jewish people can half make a good comedian, can't they? Flipping out.
Oh yeah, but only one of them's Jewish.
Yeah, but that was really good. So I watched one with Blake Griffin. I watched a bit of the one with Eric Andre. They have some good guests.
Oh, Eric Andre, that one was hilarious. Yeah, and he was like 30 minutes late.
Yeah. I assume from those 2 episodes I saw that everyone on their show is late, but
no, not everyone. It's kind of like half and half.
Yeah,
I think it depends on how famous the guest is.
Yeah. Also, I forgot to tell you. So like when you asked me like what podcast I watch, there was one that I was watching sort of towards the end of last year that I was watching every week. It's called Screen Rot Podcast.
Oh, I always see their account on Twitter.
Yeah, so like basically it's these two English guys, both comedians, and what their whole premise of the podcast is they literally, anytime something goes viral, gets a lot of attention, a lot of traffic, they kind of just make that the topic.
Right.
So they've done videos on, I don't know, like Bevo, HS Tiki Toki. They've done episodes on, Ashton Hall, you know,
Or
the
do you
guy
mean like,
sprinting.
they interviewed them, or
No,
just
they
talk
just
about
talk about it. So what they do is they bring up all the clips. They just watch the clips and they make funny observations.
Oh, I see.
I think that my favorite one that they've ever done was probably because they done two about Bevo, and honestly hilarious. Or they also did one, you know, like the Rizzler and like those guys.
Oh, the Rizzler, yeah.
Like they're really funny guys. They're both comedians. They're really good at what they do.
That's quite funny. It's funny you mentioned the Rizzler. They, you know, on that We Might Be Drunk show, they literally mention him every episode. They're like obsessed with him.
I love when like
he's meant to be on the show like 2-3 times.
Is it?
But he had to cancel because he's just so busy.
What's funny, I don't know, my favorite thing about the Rizzler is because he's quite a simple character. He's a kid that does the same thing over and over.
How old is he? Like,
he's
what,
got like
10?
12.
Yeah, something like that. Yeah.
Because he's literally a kid that just does the same, like fun. What's the word I'm looking for? Fundamentally, like it's not that funny, but like I like that genuinely funny people commit to sort of. It's almost like a joke in itself that pretending it's really funny.
Yeah.
Like you've got two comedians, professional funny guys saying that the Rizzler's great comedy when it obviously isn't, kind of thing.
Yeah,
I find that joke.
Everyone loves that guy.
They're so obsessive. I mean, that's the thing. I don't want to be a hater, but I don't really rate him, to be honest.
I mean, I don't really know what he does, but I mean,
the face, the Riz face.
Yeah, I saw a picture of him the other day. He's always like with the most famous people as well, which is quite funny.
I know. Every picture of him and the celebrity, it looks like the celebrity met him.
Do you ever watch any of Andrew Schultz's podcasts?
Oh, that's his name. Like, you're killing me.
No,
really I never watch him.
He's really funny. He's got 2 shows. I mainly listen to one more than the other.
Right.
He does. Do you know Charlemagne?
Yeah.
Charlemagne. They've been doing a show.
Charlemagne.
Yeah, they've been doing a show together for years.
I didn't even know that.
And I didn't know. I mean, and do you know what's funny actually? I remember, obviously, I've been watching The Breakfast Club since I was a kid. Charlemagne show.
Yeah.
And then
I've watched a lot.
I've known about Andrew Schultz for years, and I remember like 6 years ago, they were on Joe Rogan together, and I was like, oh, that's quite funny that they're on Thingy's show together.
Yeah.
But they've had a show all this time for years, and I only realized a few months ago because I've always watched Andrew Schultz's show every now and then, like clips of that. But I didn't realize he actually done a show with Charlemagne, so I listen to that every week. It's really good.
I remember. I mean, the only thing I really know about Andrew Schultz is he got into like
the beef with Kendrick Lamar.
You know what? Even before that, he had that whole thing with the podcast. I can't swear, but thingies and gigs.
Oh, that was so funny. Yeah. That was hilarious. But he was right though. Like they were being so weird. Like I just felt like. And he's a comedian, like he's joking around.
Yeah,
and they were like, oh, I just thought it was funny. Like,
that was strange. Oh yeah, also
Schultz is hilarious. Yeah.
I mean, I hear he's quite good at, you know, his material is quite good.
Yeah, he's hilarious.
And speaking of like comedians that do podcasts, I was telling you this the other day, but Stavros,
Stavros, yeah. He was on Schultz. He's on Schultz's show.
Yeah, I'm not surprised. Like, so
We Might Be Drunk. He was on there.
So from when you told me about podcasts and stuff, about the Blake Griffin. I just thought, I went on YouTube and just thought, who else has Blake Griffin been on? So I found the one from, he was on Stavros' show about a year ago. Honestly, hilarious. Like, that episode killed me. It's like 2 hours long and it's just so funny.
He's hilarious.
Stavros is such a naturally funny guy. I mean, he even talked about a bit about it I've only watched one of his episodes, but like, he talked about why he kind of had to be funny is because he's like a short, fat, white, ugly white guy. And he went to a 90% black school in Baltimore. So like,
is that where he's from?
I think so, yeah.
Oh, okay.
So he said that like I had no choice basically, but he's hilarious. I need to watch more of his stuff.
Stavros is hilarious. I think he made a film with.
Oh yeah, he did.
Was it Theo Von? Or did he make his own film?
It's another like him and someone made a film together about.
I know Theo Von made a film, but he made it with David Spade. He's really funny.
I can't remember who he was with, but he was.
He did make a film with. It wasn't Shane Gillis. It was. I can't remember who it was. But yeah, Stavros is really funny.
Yeah, he's so jokes. I was gonna say something as well, but he's. I don't know. I need to watch more of his episodes basically because he's so good. Oh yeah, I watched his Hot Ones interview as well. Oh, because I don't really like. I've watched. I mean, we've all kind of seen a Hot Ones episode at some point. I think I probably watched an episode of theirs like 7-8 years ago. Yeah, but it's not like a show I keep up with because they have so many guests. He's so funny. I just had, and you know what the best thing about Hot Ones is? The guy that does the
Sean Evans.
He asks like the best questions.
He's really
He's like the best interviewer I've ever seen.
He's really good. Funnily enough, because I've watched obviously episodes of Hot Ones and stuff, and earlier this year, well, the episode came out, but it was recorded late last year. Louis Theroux's got a great podcast. Yeah. And he interviewed him. Right. So Louis Theroux interviewed Sean Evans. Yeah. Because earlier the year before, Louis Theroux was a guest on Hot Ones. Right. So he then had him on his show. Yeah. And he was talking about like his upbringing and what his favorite kind of guest is and stuff, and how he interviews people. It's really, really interesting.
Yeah.
Louis Theroux's podcast is really good because he has like a variety of guests. I don't know if you've ever listened to it. Like I was listening to earlier this week. He interviewed an episode that came out a few weeks ago. He had Ed Sheeran on. He'd done Danny Dyer this week, and then a few months ago he had Leon Edwards. So he has like a really big variety of guests. Like he had Chicken Shop Girl on last year. He has like all of these sort of small, different kinds of different people.
Yeah, so different niches and stuff.
And his Louis Theroux's documentaries are just amazing to watch.
What's like? Can you think of a podcast that you know about, but you would never watch it because you know you wouldn't like it, or you don't like it because you have watched it? I've got an answer for this.
Not that I mean, I've only listened to one episode, but I know it's just not really for me. Stephen Bartlett's one.
Oh, the performance. No,
that's Jake Humphries.
Jake Humphries.
No, I think
the entrepreneur.
No, it's like Diary of a CEO.
Diary of a CEO.
Only one I watched of his because he does get quite big guests, and it's one of the most popular podcasts in the country. But I think the only one I watched was a couple of years ago when he had Ivan Toney.
Oh yeah.
And it was a decent interview, but it was good. And I'm not saying he's not good. It's just that kind of. It's just I'm not the target audience for that kind of podcast. I'm not saying it's not good.
Yeah. You know what? Funny enough. So I told you about Screen Rot.
Yes.
They're kind of just sort of give a gist of their kind of style is they've got episodes on Stephen Bartlett, and they've also got episode on Jake Humphries. And like they kind of just take the mick out of the idea of say like Jake Humphries just being on LinkedIn and just that's like their kind of style, which is, I find really funny. And a podcast that I know I'd never ever watch in my life. Have you ever heard of Fresh and Fit?
Oh yeah, mate, it's like Myron and I don't know what the other guy's called.
Mate, oh my god!
And it's just
like
it's
the most
like them.
Cancerous thing I've ever seen.
It's like them and like a bunch of OnlyFans girls, and they're sort of yelling like just like conspiracy theories or whatever.
It's awful. But what makes me laugh is that clip where the I don't know, the Arab guy, Myron he's like. He's on a rant, but then the camera's just panned to the black guy, and then he's says everything bad gets traced to feminism, and he looks in the camera like
I've seen that yeah.
Oh, that is so funny.
I've never been. I think I'm my age is a bit past.
My age is.
That's not really my.
It's below me as well.
I think it's a bit younger generation.
Yeah.
And also, I've never really been. I'm not saying they're not good at what they do. Me personally, I've just never found streaming or streamers interesting. I've never really got it. I kind of get why people like it, but even as back in the day, I've never understood the appeal of watching somebody. I like. There's
a
game. Or,
there's a few streamer personalities I like.
No, I don't really.
But I've never actually sat there and watched streamers. I think.
So you know, like Speed, for example.
Yeah.
And these guys
like
are.
Sinat,
yeah,
and Duke and all
they're obviously amazing at what they do, but I couldn't sit down for 2 minutes and watch any of that.
Yeah, like neither. Cause that's the thing. I actually really like Speed as well, and I like. That's what I'm saying. I know a lot of streamers.
Not for me, but I get why people like it. I've never
ever kind of got the appeal of watching a stream. It's not, to me. It's not the same as like watching live TV or live sports. If you're watching someone, thing is, I've had times where I've watched people play video games because if I play that game, sometimes I like to watch people play the game if they're like very good. But say when someone does like a vlog stream when they're just walking around. I can't really imagine watching that. Like,
no, neither
there's an outdoor. You get the same outdoors they get. You're allowed to. You know what I mean? I don't really.
But but they are obviously very popular, and I think that's why media is changing. People don't really want to watch. People that have the attention span to watch, say, a film or a series or like a long.
Yeah, they need to be.
People prefer at the moment short form media.
Yeah.
So I guess that's why these streamers are so popular because it's like, you see the clip. On to the next one. Do you know what I mean? I think that's why they are so popular. People don't want to, especially younger people, they don't want to sit down and watch a long podcast.
Yeah, they're used to like being stimulated by the next thing. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and there's nothing wrong with that.
And I think even when because you think about stream, when you watch a stream, I mean, that can go on for hours. I feel like the reason why they can sit through that is because, for one, they're probably got the stream there and they're scrolling through TikTok, or the stream, you can end it whenever you want. I feel like that having that choice instead of like looking at the time, like, oh, this episode ends in like 30 minutes. I feel like that's another reason why kids can kind of sit through a stream. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, and I think even I was listening to it the other day. That's why I think a lot of these you're gonna see sports change a lot now. Is that a lot of things are gonna be, you know, like last year you had Tyson versus Paul on Netflix, and then now you've got Canelo versus Crawford on Netflix, and then I think you're going to start seeing a lot more live sports on streaming platforms because people don't want to sit around all day and watch all the coverage. They just want to watch whether it's the highlights or the clips. They want to see the
people were like, they basically want to speed run their scroll. Essentially, like they want to just see everything, like see all the highlights. You know what I mean? I've even found myself sometimes if I miss like a sporting event, like even when I watch the highlights, there've been times where I don't really have the patience because I just kind of want to see.
Yeah.
And it does happen. Whereas, I don't know. For example, like last week, I watched the UFC on catch up like the next day, and because I didn't actually know the result, then again I kind of got that. Oh, like I sat through all the fights. I sat through the whole main card.
Man, they all went to a decision.
Did all of them? I feel like someone got finished.
Main card all went to a decision. Well, one of them I think was a technical decision, but it got finished early. Cody Brundage fight.
No, the guy who was unbeaten before, he knocked him out in the second round. There was a guy who was unbeaten. He was 8-0 and then he went 9-0. The black guy, I forget his name.
I didn't watch the card because I was on holiday.
I feel like he was. I think it was a middleweight bout. It was welterweight, middleweight, but
okay, I can't remember.
He had like an Islamic name, but anyway.
Was it like Abdul
Adzar or something?
Yeah, and was he like Ghanaian or Senegalese? Something? Yeah. I know who you mean. Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know.
But I'm pretty sure all the main card fights went to a decision. I think they did. I could be wrong, but I think they did.
But it was a good card. I mean, man, Usman. When you find out your goat still has it.
Oh, he's like, I saw so many memes that Unk still got it.
Still got it. Yeah.
Usman. That was funny actually. A few days later, Buckley went on Usman's podcast.
Yeah, I saw.
I haven't watched it yet. I'm gonna watch it tomorrow.
It was really cool. I saw a clip of it. It was pretty good.
Usman and Henry Cejudo's podcast is quite good.
Yeah, I've never really got into it because I follow Usman. I just see clips of it.
Yeah, and they have quite good guests.
Yeah,
they don't always have a guest, but when they do, it's pretty good. They have a good sort of show.
One thing I do like about because I feel like we live in an age where literally everyone has a podcast. The good thing is everyone has a podcast, including the people you like. So it's like imagine that you get to hear two guys that were very decorated as champions.
UFC champions, yeah.
Just sort of talk and have comments. That's pretty good. That's not the same. It's not the same as watching like random guys that blew up on TikTok or whatever. Like these are guys of actual experience.
And they've been there and they've done it.
Yeah, like they've been there and done it. Like the fact that being able to go on your podcast, talk, go fight, come back and talk about your own fight, that's mad.
That is, it's crazy. Yeah, you're right.
Everyone's a commentator now, basically.
And like all the big fighters, well, most of them have some sort of podcast or media
where a lot of them stream now.
Even if you went like a lot of the UFC champions probably or former, a lot of them have got their own show or let's talk about this, let's talk about that. There's so many. It's funny how things change, even say to 5 years ago.
Yeah.
How much things. I mean, it makes me wonder what will be the next thing in like 5 years.
Back then, I mean, like I don't know. If you think of a player, I'm trying to think of maybe a player who would have never had like a voice, like his own media years ago. But the thing is, they've probably done it anyway. I mean, I've seen like.
But with football, it's different. I feel like there's a lot more.
I guess because people have bigger fan bases, don't they?
No, I wouldn't even say it's that. I think you know how in boxing or MMA, like you said, every fighter's got a podcast, so they can say this, they can say that. I think with football, it's more. You don't really get to hear what players think that much because it's very. They don't want you. The clubs don't really want the players.
Oh yeah, because they represent the club, I guess.
Yeah. Where like they don't really want you saying, oh, even if it's you know how many times have you seen players get fined for comments that they've made on Twitter or in a interview after the game. So for players, it's not really that interesting.
I think also, I guess as well with MMA boxers, like they are their own brand in a way. As in, like they kind of have to sell themselves. How much they sell up to them. It's not, it's just the way it's different because obviously they get paid on how many people watch. Whereas if like team sports like football, people kind of watch whoever's playing.
And I guess in fighting, as a fighter, you're an independent contractor.
Yeah.
When you're a footballer, you're more like an employee.
Yeah, you are.
You're an employee. Yeah, you are an
employee. Whereas fighters are like more
so they can,
aren't they, in a way?
Kind of, yeah, because they can pull you up on what you say. Because if you're like a UFC champion or anyone, you could be like, oh, I hate the UFC and I think Dana White's an idiot. You could say that, but you couldn't say that as a footballer. Oh, I hate the owner and the manager's an idiot and the fans this and that.
No chance.
It would.
Because you're part of the organisation. It's just a different game.
It's different how it works. How it's funny how things work in different sports.
Yeah, I guess there's pros and cons of it. That's why part of what I don't like about fighting is that kind of side of it, because sometimes.
What don't you like?
Like, certain fights don't get made because I don't know, because people aren't interested in the character enough, even if like the fight itself might be. Do you know what I mean? I kind of like, which means you get a lot of guys that kind of just play characters, which I don't love. sometimes I just wish. I mean, obviously, it's more interesting when you get two characters and two guys that actually seem like they're really beefing. Then it seems like it's a bit more of a story, which I get is the appeal. But
Yeah.
I don't really get how a lot of guys in there will just kind of force a thing with someone because they're trying.
Well, like Colby Covington.
Because no, the thing is, even with Colby, maybe, yeah, you know what? Because Colby and Usman, I reckon they're cool, to be honest. Like,
no, but what I mean is that sort of gimmick that he started.
Yeah, like, yeah.
But same with Henry Cejudo. That whole gimmick was, well, they were good fighters, but not everyone found them boring as people.
Yeah.
So they started to become like a WWE character, but it worked for them.
Yeah.
But then and you are right about the fights. With MMA especially, it's not really a meritocracy all the time.
Yeah.
You look at a guy like Bilal Muhammad, he had to win 10 fights just to get a title.
Yeah.
Who was the other one recently? Marab had to win like 11, 12 fights in a row just to get a title shot. Yeah. And same with Leon Edwards, he had to win like 10 fights. So he was undefeated for like
that's
6-7 years.
I just feel like it's a bit of an injustice.
It is a bit annoying because it's kind of like...
I do want to just see
it's not really fair. Look at Mosar right now in the featherweight division. Yeah. He has been in the UFC. I think he's had 8 or 9 fights in the UFC. He's undefeated, never lost. But because he hasn't got a finish, he can't speak English. The fans aren't really excited to watch him. Yeah. He doesn't get... He's got to fight again.
It's a shame.
It's not fair. But at the same time... fighting, and especially MMA and the UFC, is also the entertainment.
But that's also that's kind of also the pro of it, because when you have two guys, that actually have a story, you've got two real characters against each other, and there's like a lot of stakes. It's really interesting. It's like a story. It's like you're watching a movie, because it's like I know how it's going to affect if he loses, and how B if he. Do you know what I mean? It's like I feel like McGregor and Khabib. That's like the perfect clash of just like two guys that are completely against what the other person's about.
And it brewed over like 2 years.
Yeah. John Jones against DC. It's like two guys that really oppose each other.
They don't like each other.
They're very contrasting. It's like a big deal.
But then sometimes you can have it the other way where there's no this and that, but it's still amazing to watch. I mean, going even like
Oliveira against Islam.
Yeah, there's not really any drama or beef.
Just two characters, like two guys.
But it was a highly anticipated fight. Yeah. But I'm trying to think of a fight that was really good, and it was like, well, there's no drama, there's no trash talk, but it was like, wow, I wanted to see that, and it delivered. I'm trying to think of an MMA example. I can think of a boxing example. Beterbiev and Bivol. Two of the best fights.
Literally,
that was the best fight I saw this year, the rematch, and even the fight last year was one of the best fights I had ever seen. Yeah. And I'm including MMA as well. Just incredible.
Just
two respectful professionals.
Just two professionals.
And they showed up, and it was incredible.
I think that's the best example of like over combat that you can think of, really, because like that's what I'm saying. Two kind of silent professionals.
I can't think of any like UFC ones, but there have been some before.
Maybe it's because I don't know, in UFC they kind of all of them in a way do a bit of.
No, I guess
maybe
it wasn't more one-sided, but you had like Habib Poirier was like just two guys that just got on and they had a fight, and you do get them, but I just can't think of any off the top of my head. But you do see like and I mean like a big fight.
Vulcan Max, did they?
Yeah, but the first fight was quite one-sided. Yeah. The second fight, I actually think Holloway won. Yeah. But two respectful professionals where there's no like trash talk or anything, and it's just like, wow, two of the best guys in the world sort of thing going at it. Volkanovski, Islam was a good one.
Yeah, that was a good fight, yeah.
The number 1 ranked and number 2 ranked fighter in the world just going at it, and it was an incredible fight. No trash talk, no nothing. But it is good when there's a little bit of heat and drama, in my opinion.
Yeah, because it's a fight.
As long as it's real, do you know what I mean?
Because it's a fight, isn't it? It's weird that, I mean, yeah, that's why it's so unique about combat sports is people can fight outside of the sport. That's because they hate each other, whereas it's the only profession where do you know what I mean? Whereas say if you had a problem with someone in real life, you're not going to be like, all right, I'll see you on the tennis court. It doesn't really make sense. No. Whereas fighting, it's like, you can choose to have a problem with someone. I don't know, it's such a weird thing to explain, but you know what I mean? It's very unique in that sense. So I guess that's why, again, guys feel like, maybe it's also better for them mentally. They feel like if I don't like this guy and I make a problem with him, that'll help me, focus.
It's interesting you hear fighters say sometimes that can either sort of fire them up, or it can make them feel like they're distracted. Or for some fighters, they genuinely don't care. Like, just say what you want. It doesn't matter. We're gonna fight. It doesn't matter what you say about me. Or it doesn't matter what I say.
Every time I can't sleep. So yeah, I don't know if you ever get this, but you know, like when you're about to go on holiday or you're excited for something, you can't really sleep because you're excited. Yeah. I always think to myself, can you imagine being a fighter and you've been training for months and months for a fight, and it's fight week, obviously these guys train really hard, so it might be easier for them to sleep. But like, can you imagine trying to sleep the night before a fight?
Yeah, it must be
Like
nerve-wracking.
impossible. Do you know what I mean? I always wonder, like, how do you even deal with that? Like, how do you stay focused the whole week without it? Because it's so close, but it must feel so far away.
And the anxiety must
I
be
always
through
just
the
think
roof.
like, man, how do you even deal with that? You know what I mean?
I guess I mean it probably gets easier over time and experience. I guess.
I guess, yeah.
But then at the same time, I have heard a lot of fighters say, "Oh, I was nervous, or I wasn't as nervous, or I was in there, but I didn't really." Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I think it just varies from fighter to fighter. Some people are just born to fight. I think
that's another unique thing about combat sports is you don't. I mean, yeah, these guys train every day, but you don't have a fight every week. Whereas footballers and basketball players play every 2-3 days.
Yeah.
Whereas fighters, yeah, they might fight once a year, twice a year.
And also, if you lose a fight, you gotta like sit on it for
ages, and it's like you feel like a loser for months. Basically, that's nuts.
Yeah. So definitely, and it's just, and even if you do fight a lot, like a guy like Kevin Holland, I think he's fought 4 times already this year.
Yeah.
Like that's a lot, but
That is a lot.
it's like, yeah, you have to keep coming back, and then it's so hard on your body making the weight and getting through these fight camps. It must be grueling, kind of thing.
Yeah, and I guess, I mean, what I imagine is, because the thing is, I feel like if I was a fighter, I'd probably do it like this as well, is a lot of these guys, even if they lose, they still celebrate. They get with their friends, they camp together, they get loads of food, and they might go out and stuff after the fight. And I guess they'd probably just be thinking about that the whole time.
Yeah.
Because I feel, I mean, you always hear it, when you're watching like Embedded and stuff, on Fight Week, fighters always say, the work is done now. So they've actually done the hard bit. Well, not the hard bit's are cut, but as in the training camp and everything. The work is done, so really it's just more.
That last week usually is about cutting weight, making weight.
Yeah, you're just sort of waiting and making weight.
Yeah, that's the hardest part. Yeah. So what do you think? Because obviously International Fight Week's next week.
Oh my God, Topuria again. I mean, yeah, Topuria against Oliveira. Oh my God. So this is genuinely my 2 favorite fighters.
I think the UFC will obviously want Topuria to win.
Yeah, I guess because Oliveira's been around longer. He's been a champion. I think
to go in they can get like bigger fan base in
They
Spain.
don't want Topuria as well to kind of flop at lightweight, and then a whole thing was
and also it kind of leaves the division. It will leave like, imagine Oliveira becomes the champion, and it's like, well, Islam beat him easily.
Yeah,
and it kind of takes a bit of shine away off the belt, because it would be like, well, Islam beat him so easily, sort of thing. And now he's at a different weight class.
In terms of predictions, I actually think, I think Topuria's actually gonna knock him out.
I'm gonna say Topuria, but I'm gonna say
I don't know when.
Topuria decision.
I think if I had to bet everything on it, I'd probably say Topuria decision as well.
Really? I mean, no, the odds are more likely Topuria knockout.
Because most fights obviously go to decision. I just feel like,
I think he's only had 1 fight in the UFC go to a decision.
Yeah, but I think Oliveira, he gets hit. He does get touched.
And the last time Oliveira went to a decision was against, his last fight he went against Michael Chandler. Yeah. But apart from that,
he dominated him as well.
He dominated him, but it was
and Chandler's just mad durable. Whereas I think that
he does get finished a lot as well.
Topuria hits really hard.
Yeah.
And also, I'm betting on the power translating as well, because there's always like a bit of a 50-50. Either you go up and you hit even harder, or you go up and the guys can take your shots better. So I actually think Topuria is going to hit really hard, and he's going to. I don't know when though. I don't know. It could be a.
I'm going to say decision.
It could be like a round 4 knockout.
The odds are a bit like, I just have a feeling it'll be decision, but it's going to be a good fight. But yeah, it's a weird one. But I would like to see. It's kind of, but if Topuria does win, it's like, who's next? I think they should do, if Topuria beats Oliveira, I think they should do If Ilia Topuria beats Charles Oliveira, I think the fight the UFC should make is Ilia Topuria versus Paddy Pimblett.
You give him the title fight?
Oh, 100%.
Well, I mean, yeah, because Ilia said he'll do it.
Yeah, so, and they don't like each other.
And they've had beef.
Both European. The heat is there. Paddy looks really improved.
Yeah.
And also, who else would you do?
Yeah.
Who else would you do? You're not going to give it to Gaethje. He's fought twice to the belt. He's like wins 1, loses 1.
Yeah.
Poirier's gone.
Yeah, after Max.
Holloway's just lost to Topuria at featherweight.
Yeah.
If Topuria wins again against Oliveira, Oliveira's lost again. There's who else is there?
Yeah, no, it might as well be Paddy. That would be good.
That's the best fight.
That would be good.
And the hype would be, everyone's talking about the UFC has a star problem and there's no buzz. you got to think, people know about, sometimes when I tell people about UFC,
They do know who Paddy
they
Pimblett
know who
is.
Paddy Pimblett is.
And I feel like Topuria is really well known as well.
Yeah, he's getting more, especially in Spain. People are
he's
like,
on a crazy like press tour. Like he's everywhere. I feel like.
Yeah, I feel like that would do crazy numbers because people know about Paddy Pimblett in the UK. Even if you don't know about UFC, you're like, oh, he's that Scouse guy with the funny hair.
He's a Scouse guy. Yeah.
That would be a great fight. I mean, the odds would be stacked against Paddy, but it would be good. And I think it'd be good if they could do it in Europe.
Yeah, 100%.
Whether it's Spain
100%.
or England or
100%.
wherever, that's where they should do it, in my opinion. France, where it doesn't matter. They should do it in Europe. It's not the end of the world. I mean, if they do it in New York or Vegas, it doesn't really matter.
But it would be nice.
It would be nice
European fighters.
If they done it in the Bernabeu or the Nou Camp or whatever it is, or Liverpool or wherever. That would be really good.
Yeah.
That would be massive.
Maybe by then flipping Aspinall fight someone.
I'm actually think they are gonna fight Aspinall and Jones in November. That's what I'm gonna say.
You reckon?
Yeah.
Apparently Ngannou's linked to coming back. And
yeah,
he was in Usman's corner as well.
Yeah. I mean, I think that would be a smart move by the UFC, but I don't think they want to be in there, especially Dana. He doesn't want anything to do with Ngannou. But you never know. Stranger things have happened. But that would be great business from the UFC.
Yeah.
That would really blow up because the heavyweight division is so.
To be honest, I've always kind of been on the side of I do think Jones will fight Aspinall.
I think he'll fight.
I've always said it.
I think he's trolling.
I said he's trolling, he's stalling, not stalling because he's scared, but just like delaying because like to get in his head and just negotiation tactic. He wants a certain amount of money and all that.
Yeah.
I do think he's gonna fight him.
And the UFC have offered him the money.
Yeah.
So really,
I do think he'll fight him. I just think that as well. The longer it goes on, because now if you look at UFC, all of their comments are stripped on Jones, which means everyone is focusing on Jones. Even when he's not fighting, everyone's focusing on him. Yeah. So when he does fight, I mean, it's pretty smart, obviously. Now everyone cares. Yeah,
and also as well, people say strict on Jones. I get it, but if you strict on Jones, what does that do? Nothing.
Exactly.
Because if Tom Aspinall goes out there and let's just say he fights Cyril Gane for the actual undisputed title, he beats him, but then what happens next? He's just gonna call out Jones anyway. Yeah. So I think they should just wait. If Jones doesn't agree to fight Aspinall by November or December, I say strip him, and then we do Aspinall versus Gane in January or December, whatever it is. That's what they should do. Then you strip him because taking the belt away from John Jones, and it doesn't really matter because everyone's gonna say, well, you need to fight Jones anyway, or Jones needs to fight Aspinall anyway. Yeah. I think they should just wait. And you never know. They could have the whole thing booked now, and they're just trolling everybody.
Yeah.
But I think that's what they should do. Wait until then, and if Jones hasn't agreed to fight by November, December, then strip him.
The thought of it happening, I'm just seeing like when it all goes dark and they show like the preview thing, like I'm just thinking about how good that would be. Like, oh my days, that would be.
It'd be good if they announced it because it's International Fight Week next week. If they done it then. That would be massive.
So good, man. I'm so excited. I can't wait for that fight. I do hope it happens.
I really do think something's going to happen. I think they're going to do like a shock announcement out of nowhere. Oh, that's what I think anyway.
I would love that.
That would be
I
massive.
will love it, and I think I deserve.
That would be good. And and then I think if they can get that done, because the UFC obviously everyone's saying there's not enough stars, there's not enough hype anymore like they used to be.
That would be massive.
This would be.
Everyone would care. People outside the sport.
People that don't watch UFC. Sort of, I know John Jones. Yeah, I'll watch him fight. Do you know what I mean? He does bring eyeballs to the sport. He's one of the biggest stars in MMA history. Yeah. So it makes sense to make that. And who do you think would win that if that was to happen?
I actually have no idea.
I think Aspinall would be the favourite. He would be the favourite.
I think so, but yeah, he's a natural heavyweight. But
But Jones is so good.
He's a master strategist, man. Like he can work out anyone.
And it's hard to say how good Jones is because
heavyweight, he's had 2 fights.
He's
dominated.
He tore from Cyril Gane.
But then
Stipe had no business being in. He had no business being in there, fighting anyone. Yeah. And Aspinall, he tears for everyone. But then we've never seen him later on in the fight, and we've never seen him. Get tested.
That's a perfect
at the highest level.
Yeah, I genuinely wouldn't be able to call that.
If I was gonna.
If I had to bet,
I wouldn't feel confident either way.
That's the thing. Like I like both fighters. It's not even about what I want to happen. It's just more. If I had to bet the house on it, I'd probably go. I want to say Aspinall, but like something weird, like Aspinall decision, where they, you know, they're both trying to work each other out. Yeah, but then no one goes down. You know what I mean?
Oh man, obviously want Aspinall to win.
Why?
But it's so hard to bet.
Wait,
against
why would
John
you want
Jones.
Aspinall to win?
He's from England.
Oh right, oh right.
Yeah.
I thought you meant like maybe for the UFC or.
Yeah, it'd be both. I mean, both. It would be good to sort of move on from John Jones, but Jones is so good. So it's really,
he can work out anyone. Like he can.
He's so skilled.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I don't know. I do think it will be announced. I do think they'll fight this year. But man, if that would be great. But I'm not too sure. But to be honest, I'm still interested to see Aspinall fight if he fights Cyril Gane. Because I wanted to see that fight 2 years ago.
Yeah, we wanted
anyway.
that years ago. I remember that because there was a time where Cyril Gane was like my favorite fighter when, like, the first time I really saw a heavyweight with that crazy good feet, and I thought that him and Aspinall would be a great matchup. But then Cyril Gane had like a pretty couple questionable performances. He had like against Volkov where he wasn't great.
No, I don't care. That was
like
one of the
lost.
worst. That was one of the worst decisions I've ever seen.
Yeah, so then I kind of petered out for me a little bit. But then, you know,
he's still good.
Like he is still good.
But then it's like Jones went through him so easily. I didn't expect that, to be honest.
Yeah, neither did
I did not expect. I'm not surprised that it happened, but I did not. When I was watching it live, I was like, it's over.
Yeah.
I thought he would put up more of a fight. I did think Ngannou would beat him.
Did you?
Yeah.
I thought Jones would win.
No, I'm saying it. I thought I thought Ngannou would beat Gane.
Oh, yeah.
He wasn't the favourite though at the time.
No, I would have thought Ngannou would.
I mean, at the time, everyone was saying, "Oh, Cyril Gane." The UFC wanted Gane to win.
Yeah.
Everyone was saying Cyril Gane's going to beat him because at the time he was undefeated. That was his first loss.
Yeah, true.
Yeah. And he no one thought Ngannou was going to win by wrestling, and obviously Gane won the first 2 rounds as well.
Yeah, true.
So this goes to show how quickly things can change because that was only 3 years ago.
Yeah. Wow. That's actually crazy.
It's really changed. But yeah. Should we wrap this up?
If you want, yeah.
Cool. Thank you. All right, we're done.
No worries.